everyone, welcome back to the kitchen, and today I have a comfort food classic that's going to take you right back to your grandma's kitchen table. I can't wait to show you how this all comes together. Today we're going to make a chicken and biscuits casserole, a good old-fashioned comfort food casserole that's easy to make and uses very simple ingredients. So we got 4 cups of cubed cooked chicken. This is the chicken from the butcher box, and it is really, really good, guys. It's not tough, it's super tender. 4 cups of chicken stock. I'm using a chicken bone broth, and I like to put mushrooms in anything that I cook. So I have about 2 cups or 8 ounces of sliced cremini mushrooms. You can leave those out if you don't like them. 1 cup of diced celery, 1 cup of diced onion, a 12-ounce bag of mixed vegetables. This has carrots, peas, corn, and green beans. You can use whatever combination of frozen veggies you like. You can put fresh carrots in here if you want, and fresh peas. I just feel like using the frozen vegetables is super easy and it's really accessible to everyone. So we're going to cook this up with about 2 tablespoons of butter, a couple of cloves of minced garlic, a teaspoon each onion powder, garlic powder, poultry seasoning, and 2 teaspoons of dried parsley. We're also going to be using a teaspoon each of kosher salt and black pepper. We're going to thicken our gravy using 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. Then we're going to make the biscuits. We're going to need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 6 tablespoons of butter that's cold and cubed, 1½ cups of buttermilk, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, and 1 tablespoon of dried parsley. You can leave that out if you don't like parsley. You can also add dill or other herbs to the biscuits if you like and make it an herbed biscuit topping. It would be great. Moving on to cooking it all up. Alright, I went ahead and I sauteed all the vegetables, the onions, the celery, the garlic, and the mushrooms in that butter over a medium-high heat just until the onions start looking translucent. They don't need to be completely cooked because this is going to go in the oven. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all of those seasonings in, and we're just going to get those mixed up in there with the moisture from the vegetables and the butter, and this is going to kind of toast those spices and bring out all of their oils and add a lot of extra flavor. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add this 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, and we're kind of building a roux here. This is going to be our thickening agent for what's going to be our gravy in our casserole. And you can just go ahead and toss that in, mix it all around really, really well. What you're looking for here is that you don't see a lot of white. So you want to get rid of all that raw flour. You just want it to kind of be absorbed by whatever liquid is going on in there. It's going to look like a little bit of a shaggy mess, but don't worry. The next step is going to bring this all together, and it's going to turn into this fantastic gravy. And now here we go with the chicken stock. I'm going to go in here with a whisk and just let the flour do its magic. This is going to thicken up before you know it. It's going to turn into a beautiful gravy. And remember, it's not going to thicken until it starts to bubble. So if you think it's not doing anything, just be patient, because you just added a room temperature, or in some cases cold chicken stock, into your pan, and that's going to bring down the temperature of the pan completely, and you're going to have to remember you have to wait for that to come back up to temp. Our gravy has thickened up to where I like it. Now if you find that the gravy is not thick enough for you, then add a little water and flour slurry in there and whisk it in, and then everything will be just right. Just go ahead and do that until it reaches your desired level of thickness. We're going to go ahead and stir in our cubed chicken, and just so you know, the 4 cups of chicken that I used was approximately 4 chicken breasts. Well, it was 4 chicken breasts because I have 2 left over. I'm going to toss in these veggies, and then don't worry about bringing this up to a simmer again, because we're going to be putting this in the oven anyway, and it doesn't even matter. So I'm going to go ahead and add salt and pepper. Again, you should do that to your taste. If you don't like as much as I have used, or like to have more, then adjust accordingly. Then we're going to turn off the heat. We're going to move on to making our biscuits. I'm just going to set this aside and we'll be right back. Okay, we're going to move on to making the biscuit topping. Now this is just like making plain old baking powder biscuits, but these are drop style biscuits, so we're gonna scoop them instead of rolling them out, because that makes everything about this casserole so much easier. You don't have to get your hands dirty or your counter dirty, and you don't have to find your cookie cutters and all that. So just whisk together the flour, the baking powder, salt, and parsley, or any other herbs that you're gonna use. And then we're gonna toss in our cold butter. Remember, you want your butter to be cold, otherwise this isn't gonna work so well. And then I like to toss the butter cubes in that flour, and then we're gonna go ahead and add our buttermilk. I'm gonna hold back about a half a cup and see where we are. Sometimes you don't need all that liquid, but because we are making a drop biscuit, you guys, I totally biffed it. You're supposed to cut that butter in. So I know that I've already cut in that. I've already poured in that buttermilk, but you know what? We all make mistakes in the kitchen, and we're just gonna do the best that we can. I'm sure this isn't really going to affect the recipe that badly, but you're gonna wanna cut in the butter to the flour using a pastry blender like I'm using, but make sure you do it before you pour your buttermilk in. I don't know how it's gonna do, but we'll see. Either way, we'll figure out what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go ahead and add the rest of my buttermilk to my disaster biscuits. But you know what? My family's still gonna eat them.
Hurricane.
So it's no biggie.
Hurricane biscuits.
Why are they hurricane biscuits?
Because they're disaster biscuits.
And that is just about where you want your flour mixture to be. It is going to be wet and shaggy. And now we're ready to put this all together. All right, I went ahead and I put our chicken casserole mixture into our baking dish. You can use whatever you like. I could have left it in that pan that I use because it's oven safe. So now we're gonna take our biscuits and we're gonna just drop them on the top. And you guys, this is very, very similar to chicken and dumplings, except that because we're putting this in the oven and baking them, the biscuit part is gonna get nice and crispity, crunchity, and it's gonna be really nice. So I'm using a 2 tablespoon or approximately therein scoop. This is the same scoop we like to use when we bake cookies. And I'm just gonna pop these on here evenly, or as evenly as possible. And we're gonna see how these essentially undermixed biscuits are gonna do. And the amount that I made just covers
Perfect.
the top of the casserole. And that's just where we want it. We don't want too much leftover. I have a little bit. We'll find one. We'll just plop it on top. And that's all good. I have my oven preheating at 350 degrees. We're not going to cover this. We're going to pop it in the oven and we're going to bake it for 20 to 25 minutes or until everything is nice and bubbly and the biscuit topping has cooked all the way through and is lightly golden on the top. When it's ready to come out, I'll bring it back and I'll show you what it looks like. Dinner is served. Our chicken and biscuits casserole was actually in the oven for 35 minutes. Every oven is a little bit different, and you're going to want to check it at 25 minutes and then determine if your biscuits are nice and golden and if your filling is bubbling. Those are the 2 signs that your casserole is ready to come out of the oven. We're actually taking this over to my dad's house because every other Sunday we carry dinner over there and eat with him. And I'm going to have Rick give this a taste. It smells incredible, and even though I messed up a step on my biscuits, they still came out pretty good. They still came out pretty good. So I'm just gonna have you,
if I have to,
taste this because I think you're gonna like it. What do you think? Yes?
It's so good.
Yeah. See, the biscuits are beautiful.
I mean, not to cheapen it, but it's like a pot pie. Chicken pot pie.
Well, it is kind of like a pot pie, but there's no bottom crust, and
That's really good.
That is comfort food to the 10th degree.
I'm gonna eat too much.
I hear you. I do. So that's how simple it is to make a chicken and biscuits casserole. Look, you guys, if you don't want to make your biscuits from scratch, use a box of biscuit mix, or even go get yourself a couple of tubes of the small biscuits and put them on top. I'm not going to tell.
No.
It's not going to make a difference. It's going to be just as good, and your family's going to love it just as much.
This is so good.
So delicious, so simple, really easy to make, and I know you're going to love it. I hope you give it a try, and I hope you do indeed love it. And until next time, I'll see ya. And if you do, I hope that you love it. And until next time, I'll see ya.